Who were some of just your inspiring artists when you started making videos? That time I heard it. I heard it that time.
This train, yeah. It's coming close. Before it was just in the distance
Right.
where maybe only I could hear it.
Do you have to jump out of the way? Like, is it gonna get you?
I just had to. There was a maiden tied up that I had to pick up and carry off of it from some dastardly evil man.
Right. Watch Pat's creative podcast for Razbuten's famous train hit. Only here.
Exactly. Yeah. Some of my influences. Yeah. So I started, I think, like pathing my getting into YouTube track. As much of a millennial as I am, it's the Zoomer way of Minecraft is what got me into it. I don't know. I heard about Minecraft. I watched a video by this guy called X's
No
Adventure
kidding.
in
Yeah,
Minecraft.
I'm aware. I also got into YouTube through Minecraft, so I know some of the OGs.
Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And that introduced me to Let's Plays, where like from there I moved on to some of the stuff Rooster Teeth was doing. And then from there I moved into Game Grumps stuff. So I a huge early inspiration for sure was Ego Raptor.
Right.
In terms of like, oh, you can do this, and you can be funny and talk about things.
Right.
So yeah, going back to my very early content, or my very early videos, I think I do a decent job of somewhat hiding my inspirations. But definitely, I was trying to use game discussions as a path to comedy.
Sure.
Which I think was the wrong take, because I think I have a lot more to give to game discussions than comedy.
Right.
I think as I've gone on, I've kind of flipped that where like, comedy, when I do use it, which is relatively sparingly, but a few dry comments here and there throughout videos, like that's just to help push forward the ideas and not have it be completely dry.
Right.
So now I use comedy as a way to, when I do, to push forward my ideas on games, where before or early on it was very much the opposite. And I think if you look back to the older guard, right, your PBGs,
Right.
and folks like that, like so much of it is, I mean, yeah, if you I think Peanut Butter Game is a great example of that. Is like, especially his early top 10s, like they're funny. Like
Right.
that's what they're for, is like they're meant to be funny.
Right.
And it's using games as a vehicle to
Exactly,
tell jokes. What he says about games isn't the focus. It's never meant to be. So yeah, I think a lot of my early stuff kind of reflects that, because that's what I was like, this is what stuff should be.
Right.
But then I think over time I kind of took a closer look at what Ego Raptor had done with the Sequelitis series and been like, this isn't about the comedy. Like there are funny jokes in it,
Right.
but the comedy is,
It's aiding the bigger picture.
yeah. So yeah, transition some from there. I think, I think Ego Raptor, and I imagine a lot of people who started around the same time as me, a big influence
Definitely.
for me. And then as time went on, I think I Mark Brown, it's hard not to be influenced by the dude at this point. Just consistently, Game Maker's Toolkit is put it
Right.
out. Great essay after great essay.
Right.
And raising the bar.
Yeah.
I think Mark came out and it was like, okay, oh, I see you. All right, gotta improve what I'm
it's
doing.
It's borderline intimidating to even talk about game design when you see some of those videos.
Mm-hmm. And then I think I took a lot of inspiration from Nerdwriter too. I think Nerdwriter, obviously like the biggest video essay OG ever, right?
Right.
Just the original video essay guy, pioneered that format, and I think I definitely got into his work and learned a lot from that.
Sure.
So yeah, I'd say the order, I guess, probably was the first big inspiration was Ego Raptor, then Nerdwriter,
Right.
then Mark Brown. Also like a lot of smaller channels that I've had the pleasure to become friends with have inspired me
Sure.
a lot. Wizawat, who's putting stuff out, he used to put stuff out under a different channel and it's now putting out new stuff that's great. But watching his early stuff and having conversations with him about things in video essays helped me a ton. Heavy Eyed has been the same sort of way.
Right.
I'd mentioned earlier Jesse Grasha, who's done editing for me. He had a channel that made me think about things a lot differently.
Right.
And you mentioned Snowman Gaming.
Right.
He in our group, because I've kind of had a handful of people that I've been lucky enough to have in my sphere for a while.
Right.
And Snow was always like the big channel out of us. Even when, he had like 5,000 subs, I'm like, oh, Snow's channel is so massive in comparison.
Right.
Which 5,000 is a ton. It's just all about perspective and interesting to see
Sure.
how massive we viewed his channel then. And now, he's at like 240,000 subs.
Right.
It's just so interesting to see
Yeah.
how our view of him has not changed, even though his channel has changed so much. But he inspired me a ton. His good game design series definitely, I think, was a big inspiration for me to do like topic-based essays
Right.
instead of like, I'm going to talk about Mega Man X.
Right. Well, and I think that's what's really interesting is just how much like inspiring artists we pull from when in to make some kind of big collective of these random thoughts and ideas and inspirations we pulled from so many different people. And you can like chart back specific things where it's like, oh, I saw Snow do this, which kind of influenced this small little change in how I approach content. And then I'm sure like you could chart stuff back to other creators as well, because we all take these tiny little aspects from specific ideas just to make our own thing. And I very much feel that you definitely have your own creative voice too, though, and you're not just another creator, right? And I think it's tough when you're first starting off, because you see the channels that you like and you immediately want to recreate exactly what they're doing. But over time, as you see a lot more creators, you're able to really find where your preferences lie and where you think you can create the best possible thing in your own style. And I think you've been able to do that. So, hey there. You just watched a clip from my creative podcast. If you'd like to check out the full episode as well as other episodes as soon as they come out, you can support me over on Patreon for the $3 tier, or you can just subscribe here and wait for clips and podcast episodes to come out eventually.